time no see. Take care. Hey, how are you, sir? Good to see you. I haven't gotten there entirely, but I'm getting there. Good deal. Thawing out. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the South Carolina State House. We're glad to have everybody here today in the building where we passed Certificate of Need last year, not when Governor Haley said she did it back in 2015. And we're glad to have Florida Governor and the next President of the United States, Ron DeSantis, here with us today. Unexpectedly strong results in Iowa last night. We're very excited about his performance in Iowa. After $48 million worth of attack ads, more money spent against Ron DeSantis than Joe Biden and Donald Trump combined, and he still pulled out a strong and resounding victory in Iowa last night. So that's why he's in South Carolina today. To make the point very clear, that South Carolina is a redder state today because of the work Ron DeSantis did in Florida than the work Nikki Haley did in South Carolina. And that's unequivocally true. We've passed Certificate of Need reform here. We've cut taxes. We've stood up for parental rights. And even this week, and the governor's going to talk about this with y'all, even this week in the Senate today, we're going to be talking about anti-ESG legislation that just passed the House, standing up to the ESG woke agenda. We have a parental rights bill in the Senate coming up tomorrow. The House is going to vote on a bill tomorrow to protect children from gender reassignment under the age of 18. All of these things are made possible by the work that was done by Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida. So we wanted him to be here in South Carolina. This is the firewall. Iowa's a conservative start off. This is the conservative firewall state. So we're glad to have the Governor of Florida and the 47th President of the United States, Ron DeSantis, here with us today.
Okay, thanks. Well, thanks. It's good to be with y'all. This is balmy compared to what I came from in Iowa. I can tell you that. When it gets to sub-zero, that's a new experience. Most Floridians are not going that far north in January. Most of the time, the Northerners are coming to Florida. But we're happy to be able to be in South Carolina on the morning after. We just did a great event in Greenville, had a packed house, and actually had overflow. And we're here for this press conference. I think these are great issues, and I commend the South Carolina House and the South Carolina Senate for taking on these important issues. We'll be leaving here after this and going to New Hampshire. I got one regular town hall, then I have a town hall on CNN that'll be on at 9 o'clock tonight. So it's a big day, not a lot of sleep, but that's what you sign up for, so you got to do it. What they're doing here is similar to what Florida has done. I just find it crazy that I seem to be the only Republican presidential candidate that can give a straightforward answer to the question of, can a man become a woman? Answer to that question is no. Donald Trump has hemmed and hawed about it. Nikki Haley gave a ridiculous word salad yesterday, or 2 days ago when she was asked about that. And so when you see South Carolina legislators standing for parental rights, making sure the education and the curriculum is free, a lot of the madness that's been put in, but also addressing this idea of these surgeries for the minors. This is something that Florida initially went through our medical board to stop and then did it in statute. This is just something that's wrong. I mean, we have people like Chloe Cole that went through this. As she got older, the dysphoria resolved itself. Now she's had irreversible damage, and so she speaks out about it. This is not something that other countries, when they've done this, have not had a good outcome on, and so a lot of them, like Sweden, have reeled it back in. It's wrong to be doing a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old with these types of things. So I think what they're doing is right. They have my support. We were proud to do it in the state of Florida. You know, young kids, 80–90% of the dysphoria resolves itself by the time they become adults anyways. Why would you do these procedures, which are really tough stuff, knowing that that's the case? And so I know a lot of states have done that. Nikki Haley has kind of been in different parts of this issue. Initially, she said it was about up to the parents. Then I think she's now said that there should be federal legislation. So I don't know. I guess it depends on which Nikki you talk to. But the reality is, this is not a parents' rights issue because this is basically abusive surgeries. And there's a lot of things that, as much as we all support parents' rights, you can't take your kid and get a 12-year-old a tattoo. You can't take a 13-year-old and sit him at the bar and do liquor shots. There's just certain things that, of course, are not appropriate for minors, and this is one of them. So I appreciate them standing firm, and I know that in South Carolina, the folks here do not have difficulty in answering the question about whether a man become a woman. I think they understand that, and we just need to be clear on that as Republicans. The other thing is they're leaning in against this ESG cartel. We have done that in Florida. ESG is a menace, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to impose an agenda on the country through the guise of private business. And so you'll have pensions for teachers, for police officers, for firefighters that are being invested, and those are being done by criteria which have a political component to it, rather than simply just focusing what the best returns are. So we eliminated ESG in our pension in Florida. We also eliminated the use of things like social credit scores. We've also eliminated ESG's use in rating state and municipal bonds. So this is an effort to have some really, really big, powerful companies wield power over our society and over our politics and policy in ways that are not going to be healthy for the people, and it's not even going to ultimately be good for business, because we don't want to have a politicized economy. Now Nikki Haley, she was asked about ESG, and she didn't criticize it. She was bragging about being supported by the head of BlackRock. Well, that's not, I think, what Republican voters want to see. They want to see a candidate like we did in Florida. We actually removed money from our pension fund that was being managed by BlackRock, because we don't believe in the whole ESG movement, and we understand that it's destructive and ultimately is not something that's going to work for this country. So I applaud the members of the legislature who are standing up and doing what's right. I think South Carolina has had a number of years recently that have been very, very productive. So my hat's off to you, and there's no you don't have to think very long and hard about people are fleeing states that are governed poorly, and they're moving to states like Florida and like South Carolina because they're governed well, and people want to be treated well. They want to have their freedoms respected, and that's what I see being done here in the South Carolina legislature. And of course, Florida, we're happy to be a landing spot. I can always tell anytime one of these blue states does something dumb, I get more people coming to Florida. If Chicago does something dumb, Naples real estate goes up. When New York does something dumb, Palm Beach real estate goes up. It's like clockwork that this happens. So we've been a refuge of sanity over the last years I've been governor, and we're proud to be able to do that. We're also proud to be a very fiscally conservative state. I mean, the whole ESG stuff, we want to have a robust pension. We don't want to have unfunded liabilities like in Illinois. Very, very important. We've actually paid down 25% of the state's debt just since I've been governor in 2019. Washington, they're adding a lot of debt. We're actually reducing debt, even while cutting taxes and even while keeping government small. So it's an honor to be here. And does anyone want to say anything? Otherwise, I'm happy to take some questions. What do you think? All right, I'm happy to take some questions.
In 1 week, we have the New Hampshire primary, and after New Hampshire, we're 1 month in South Carolina. What is your campaign going to look like when we get to that 1 month South Carolina talk?
Well, it's been good. So we actually have a great organization in South Carolina. It hasn't gotten as much attention because there's so much focus on Iowa. Also have an organization in New Hampshire that's been very good. We are going to have the Nevada Caucus, which I'm participating in. Donald Trump's participating. Nikki Haley's not participating in that, and so she's going to win 0 delegates out of Nevada. And yes, I understand the state party there. They're trying to rig it for Trump. Of course they are, but you know what? You got to compete under difficult circumstances. So we're competing in Nevada. It's all about the accumulation of delegates. I think that's really, really important. So here we've got a good footprint. But I think you're going to see us be present more, not just in terms of me being in the state more, but also in terms of paid media, where we're going to be able to tell our story. I'm a candidate that has got a great fit for South Carolina. I'm the only veteran running for president. I'll be the first president since 1988 to be elected who served in a foreign war. I also have a great conservative record, and I'm somebody that's a father of young kids. And so this whole idea of protecting parents' rights, ensuring education choice, that's not only something that I've delivered as governor, but that's something that I live every day as a dad. you owe the people of New Hampshire a debate. This is a time-honored tradition that you debate in New Hampshire the week before the New Hampshire primary. So I plan on being there on Thursday. I understand why she doesn't want to debate, and yes, Donald Trump should debate as well. But either way, I'm going to be there, and so I hope both of them come. But I think that she doesn't want to debate because the last debate that we did together, didn't go well for her. That's just the reality. I understand that. And look, these debates, it's not about like, yeah, you can do a line here and that, and so there's some of it's presentation, but a lot of it is just what's your record, and can you articulate your record in a way? I'm proud of my record. She is not as proud of hers, and she runs away from it. And I've never seen somebody, you literally can quote from her book. She said Hillary Clinton inspired her to run for office. She's on video saying that. Okay, just own it. But then she'll say she never said it, and you're lying if you just quote her own words to her. That's not an effective way to debate, because I think Republican voters, they want you to stand by your record. And if there's something you would do differently now, fine. But when they see a video of you saying this stuff, and then you say you never said it, well, not only did you say it, you wrote it in the book. It's like, come on. And yes, I understand why she's doing it, because Republican voters, if they're told that one of the candidates for the Republican nomination was inspired to run for office because of Hillary Clinton, and that in some way she remained inspiring, which she wrote in her book, that is obviously a negative. I mean, that's going to be a negative across the board with Republican primary voters, but don't insult our intelligence and say you never wrote it or you never said it. You did, but I understand why she wouldn't want to have that hashed out on a debate stage. Well, I'm here in South Carolina to let everyone know we're going to be in the state, and we're looking forward to doing it. I have had pointed out the differences with me and Donald Trump. In fact, I even said today he had a tough time answering a question about whether a man can become a woman. And Nikki Haley as well gave a word salad on that. So in some respects, they've taken similar positions on some of these issues that are contrary to where the conservative base of the Republican Party is. And I think with me, people know, I'm a principle-driven candidate. Like Popeye said, I am what I am, and that's just what you do. I can't try to be something I'm not. And so we say what we believe, and we follow through on those beliefs.
Last question.
Pretty popular in this state. Why not spend your entire rest of your campaign here in South Carolina, which does have the tradition of picking presidential nominees, not any other state, with the exception of obviously one favorite. Why go to New Hampshire at all? Why not just campaign?
Well, because I'm trying to accumulate delegates, and these delegates are a portion. We had the caucus last night. And you actually can go, it's different than a primary, where you go in, you fill out your ballot, you put in, you leave in a primary. This is actually, you meet, people give speeches, then people vote, and you go. So I'm going, and I spoke at a couple sites in Dubuque, Iowa. So the first one I did, then I raced to another one, and I was the last speaker. It's like a big gymnasium, has hundreds of people, and I give my spiel, and people are, a lot of, even the people, everyone was clapping. They were excited, getting ready to vote. I walk off the gymnasium floor, and someone said, the Associated Press has called it for Trump, when people hadn't even voted yet. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the order would have been different had they waited 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but I do think some people decided to walk out. And when you talk about a proportional delegate situation, that could have shifted a delegate or two. It's very possible. But why would you call the race before people have even voted? I just don't understand how it's interference in the election, and whether it changed votes or not is really irrelevant. I would respect the process, let people do it. All these people are getting the Fox News notifications on their phones while they were trying to do it. So that's wrong. But we're going to spend a lot of time. There's a lot of real estate between now and the South Carolina primary in terms of political time. There's a lot that happens in politics over that period of time. You will see dynamics on the ground shift, most likely. There'll be shifts in the narrative. So we'll be in a position to be able to do that. But we actually, my wife is a graduate of college at Charleston, and her parents lived in the Charleston area for a long time. So I used to, when we were dating, we used to always come up to Charleston and Mount Pleasant and all those areas, and I always had a good time. And I could also chart the population growth just by anecdotally. When we first started dating in 2006, when we'd come up, then 2, 4, 6 years later, after we got married, we'd come up, I could notice the traffic. It got worse almost every year because more and more people were coming, and it's a good place to live. So I'm not surprised that that's happening. All right, thanks everybody, appreciate it.